So tonight we're going to be making meatloaf and my famous scalloped corn. To start the scalloped corn, I do a can of sweetened corn and I fry it up in a cast iron pan with some avocado oil. I get that nice and caramelized. After that's been caramelized and it kind of pops like popcorn, we're going to turn the heat down and we're going to add butter and garlic to that. In the meantime, we're also going to chop up an onion for our meatloaf and more garlic for our meatloaf. Now that the corn is caramelized, we can add the butter and the garlic. Then we're going to set that in a bowl and let that cool off while we prepare the meatloaf. We're going to fine chop the onion a little more. For the meatloaf, I'm using a pound of ground beef and a pound of ground pork. We're going to add some Worcestershire sauce, mustard, ketchup, salt, and pepper. Now I toasted some bread and I'm just adding my own breadcrumbs here. It's about 3 or 4 slices of bread. It should equal about 3/4 to 1 cup of breadcrumbs. We're going to add an egg to our meatloaf mixture, and then we're going to add in our onions and garlic, and we're going to mix that up real good. We're going to add a little more Worcestershire sauce, and we're going to place that into a loaf pan. We're going to add a thick layer of ketchup over that, just a maybe tad of Worcestershire also, and some salt and pepper. And then we're going to spread that around. Now we are going to make the scalloped corn. Remember to grease your pan. It's very important to remember that. It's 1 can of cream-style cream corn. We're going to add an egg, and we're going to add about 8 tablespoons of crushed saltine crackers. Mix that all together. And we're going to add back in our corn that we caramelized and some salt and pepper. We're going to add 1 cup of milk drizzled on top of everything. Don't stir it up. And then we're going to add about another 8 tablespoons of crushed saltines, enough to cover it. So you may need a little more depending on how big of a pan you're using. This pan is a little smaller than a 9x13. I think it's like an 8x12 or something like that. Then we're going to take 1/4 of a cup of butter, a 1/2 stick of butter, and we're going to cut those into little pats, and we're going to line that around kind of like a dump cake. We are going to bake both of these in the oven at 350 for an hour. While that is cooking, we are going to prepare our potatoes for our mashed potatoes. We're going to peel them and chop them into small pieces. And we're going to boil those until they're nice and soft, about 15-20 minutes. We're going to add some salt to our water, and we're also going to add some garlic in there. Once the potatoes are soft, we're going to take our masher and mash them up really good. We're going to add a 1/2 stick of butter, let that melt down a little bit, and then add a little milk. I usually do like 1/4 of a cup of milk and salt and pepper. I do add some garlic powder also. All right, our meatloaf and is done, and we are leaving the potatoes on warm. We're going to take some of the grease out of the loaf pan, and when your scalloped corn is nice and golden brown, you're going to pull that out. And here we have our dinner. We had some dinner rolls made also. Dinner's done!